la profesora Lorraine. ¿Cómo les va? Bienvenidos a la Escuelita de Español. I also want to welcome you to yet another tense-related episode. Today, it's all about the present continuous tense in Español. Sometimes you may also call it the present progressive. The Spanish present continuous tense, which is used to talk about something that is happening at this very moment, is formed from the present tense of estar and the gerund of the verb. Here's a little reminder of the estar verb in the present tense. You might remember this. So estar conjugated to the different pronouns is yo estoy, tú estás, él está, ella está, usted está, nosotros estamos, ellos están, ustedes están. In Spanish, the gerund is the form of the verb that ends in ando, that's for AR verbs, and iendo for ER and IR verbs. It is the same as the ing form of the verb in English. For example, walking, swimming. So to form the gerund of the AR verb, we have to take off that AR ending of the base verb and add ando. Here's an example. Trabajar. Let's repeat that. Trabajar. Trabajar means to work. So we could recognize that it's an AR ending verb. So as the instructions, we remove the AR and we add ando. So our new word is trabajando, which means working. And it's simple as that for AR verbs. So if we were to say, I am working, you will have to say, yo estoy trabajando. Tú estás trabajando. Él está trabajando. Ella está trabajando. Usted está trabajando. Nosotros estamos trabajando. Ellos o ellas están trabajando. Ustedes están trabajando. To form the gerund of the ER or IR verb, we take off the ER or the IR ending of the base verb and we add IENDO. Here are examples. Let's look at comer. Repeat that. Comer. Comer means to eat. So right away, we recognize that is an ER verb. So we remove that ER and we add IENDO. Remember, these endings, ANDO for AR verbs and IENDO for ER and IR verbs, it's like the ING in English. So our new word is comiendo. Comiendo, which means eating. So if we were to use this new conjugated verb with the pronouns and the estar verb, it would be yo estoy comiendo. That is, I am eating. Remember, it's the present continuous tense, meaning it's happening right now. Yo estoy comiendo. Tú estás comiendo. Él está comiendo. Ella está comiendo. Usted está comiendo. Nosotros estamos comiendo. Ellos o ellas están comiendo. Ustedes están comiendo. Good. Now let's look at the verb that ends in IR. Remember, for this one, we also add I-E-N-D-O. Escribir. Please repeat that. Escribir. Escribir means to write. So of course, we could recognize that is an IR ending verb. Right away, remove the IR and you add I-E-N-D-O. So our new verb is escribiendo. Repeat that. Escribiendo, which means writing. So if you want to say, I am writing, you could say, yo estoy escribiendo. Tú estás escribiendo. Él está escribiendo. Ella está escribiendo. Usted está escribiendo. Nosotros estamos escribiendo. Ellos o ellas están escribiendo. Ustedes están escribiendo. There are, of course, some present participles which are irregular, and as with all irregular verbs, these exceptions must be learned. When the verb stem ends in a vowel, that is for ER and IR verb. We have an example here, leer. Leer means to read. So as you can see, it's an ER ending verb. If we were to remove this ending, ER, we are left with a stem, LE. For these cases, whereby the stem ends in a vowel, you do not add IENDO. Instead of I, we substitute it for YENDO. So to say reading, it would be leyendo. Let's do another. Caer. Caer means to fall. Again, it's an ER ending verb. After removing the ER, we are left with a stem, CA. Since it ends in a vowel, the instruction says to add YENDO instead of IENDO. So to say falling, you will need to say cayendo. So now let's look at the stem changing verbs. So I have two examples and both of these are IR. So the first one is dormir. Dormir means to sleep. So we did this before. I don't know if you recall, stem changing verbs, meaning there is a change, a slight change in the stem. So dormir is an IR verb. We remove the IR and we are left with a stem, DORM. But the rule for this stem changing verb says that we substitute the O for a U. So let's do that. After substituting O for U, our new stem is DURM. And now is where we could add our ending IENDO. So sleeping is durmiendo, not dormiendo, durmiendo. Let's repeat that. Dormir means to sleep. Sleeping is durmiendo. Good job. Let's look at another IR stem changing verb. Decir. Decir means to say. When we remove the IR, we are left with a stem DEC. And the rule for this stem changing verb states that we should change the E to an I. So after we do that, our new stem is DIC. Now is where you add IENDO. Diciendo. Let's repeat that. Diciendo. So, decir means to say, but saying is diciendo. Diciendo. Now, let's look at the last rule. These are for when the verb stem ends in ll and ñ. Do you remember ñ? That's the N with a little curly thing at the top. Ñ. Good. Let's look at gruñir. Gruñir means to growl. Let's repeat that. Gruñir. So gruñir is an IR verb. Let's remove the IR. Our stem is GRUñ. And if you recall, the rule states that when a verb ends in LL or ñ, we have to do something here. And that thing is that we do not add IENDO. Instead, we only add ENDO. So as long as you remove your endings, whether ER or IR, if the stem ends in ñ or LL, you do not add IENDO, you only add ENDO. So while gruñir means to growl, growling is gruñendo. Let's pronounce that. Gruñendo. Good. Now let's look at a verb which stem ends in LL. We have zambullir. Zambullir, which means to plunge. After removing your IR, you could see that the stem ends in LL. Again, for these verbs, you do not add IENDO, but you add ENDO. So while zambullir means to plunge, if you want to say plunging, then you say zambullendo. Zambullendo. Muchas gracias for joining me, guys. I hope this class has been useful to you and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Que pasen un fabuloso día.